All right, we are live, and the New York Mets
Cheers, I suppose.
have us in a Mets therapy session right now.
Welcome back to Mets Fans Anonymous,
Yep.
the show that's been on hiatus effectively for a couple years. I think we toyed with like one or two episodes last year when we thought we were like in trouble.
Problems. Hugh got
Yeah.
problems, 2022, KFC and Clem.
Yo, you know what? People who complained about 2022 Mets are like kids who compare that like their life is stressed, who like complain that like, oh, I have no time to do anything. And the 2023 Mets are parents going, you think you don't have time? You think you're stressed? You think you're tired? Try our life. That is the 2023 Mets versus the 2022 Mets. I know I've said it so many times, but god damn it. Did so many of you guys squander an opportunity to have so much fun complaining about a team that was awesome to only now live that reality. You guys spoke that into existence. We're just watching a bad team.
I'm happy you mentioned this, Kev, because I wrote this down before we came on the pod. For the people listening, not watching, first of all, subscribe to the YouTube, watch it as well. You can see our beautiful faces, drinking our beautiful beers.
Biggest. Well, never mind.
We're back to 2018 vibes right now, it feels like. So it's me and KFC on the show. Kyle and Phil are not here right now. We're doing it live in the KFC radio studios. The New York Mets threw 35 games last season. We're 23-12 with a 153 run scored to 117 runs allowed differential. This year's team is 17-18. 150 runs scored, so basically the same. 3 runs less than last year. 160 runs allowed. So I think we found the culprit here, man.
Dude,
it's like, why is my air conditioner broken? You just find like a dead raccoon in it. It's like, found the problem.
Why is the air conditioner not working? There's a pair of scissors jammed in there.
Who do you think did that? I never got your.
It's for sure.
Muskie?
Muskie. I mean, absolutely Muskie.
No, we have to find out who jammed the scissors in our
franchise,
pitching air conditioner.
Yeah.
That's what we have to find out. That's the goal of this.
Well, I think
season, whatever the fuck it is.
I think we can narrow it down to 5 culprits, and that's the pitching staff. I mean, the fact that prior to last game, we had more runs scored this year than through this point in the season. Like I think 1 or 2 games ago, the 2023 Mets had scored more runs than the 2022 Mets through that point. Blew my mind because it's been terrible. But it has not really. The offense hasn't been the culprit, but it also hasn't shined either. I would have never guessed that the 2023 Mets have done anything as good as the 2022 Mets.
Yes,
and we had scored more runs a game or 2 ago. Now it's 3 less. But the fact that the offense is still comparable shows you just how fucking awful the starting pitching has been. And we've been so spoiled as Mets fans because we've either had the Seavers and the fucking DeGroms of the world mixed in with, solid staffs. The 86 Mets had guys top to bottom. The even like the 99 and 2000 team, you had, the Al Leiters and the Mike Hamptons, and then you had some workhorses who maybe weren't
Pedro,
flashy.
Johan. You get guys who may not have been at their absolute zenith here, but legends. Bartolo.
Like guys that stepped in and just could eat innings and pitch ball. Even like, I don't want to give him like credit, but like there was like John Maine could like pitch, we're
looking back at John Maine with the rosy eyes. That's what you've done to us.
It's bad.
Yeah.
But all like even the bad ones were like serviceable. These guys are like bums. I mean, so the real linchpin to me is Scherzer. Scherzer, we thought we're gonna get another year of top dog Scherzer. Not only does it not look like that, we're getting nervous that he might fall off a cliff and be like a back end guy. That changes everything. Verlander stepping up and giving up 2 bombs in the first inning to the Tigers does not give you any confidence, but also he settled in, didn't give up any other runs. Maybe Verlander will be that ace, but not having the 2, I've said it before on this show, the difference between having just 1 ace and that's it, and having 2 guys is so huge. And let's even say Scherzer becomes formidable or serviceable. The back end of Joey Fuego and Peterson and McGill and unfortunately to this point now Senga. I mean, Senga has like a 1.5 whip.
He does. I sent that
crazy.
the other day. I said, who was it? Whoever was pitching that night, I was like, they have a 1.47. And I looked, and then Phil's like, Sanga's the same. Max is like a 1.41. And I'm like, if you have 3 guys who have a 1.5 whip, that is a problem. I also said
that's
the
bad.
next day, whoever throws the next quality start for the New York Mets is our ace. I think it's up for grabs. Senga went out, pitched the quality start, got the fucking win, avoided the sweep against the Rockies. Senga's their new ace. Now I'm looking for a number 2. Who wants the number 2 spot? You throw a quality start, you are now our number 2. Justin Verlander, I'm hoping it's you.
Quality starts are complete games now.
Yeah.
Quality starts, 6 innings, 3 runs would be a gift from God himself.
I'd come if there was a quality start. And like 3, if I got 3 quality starts in a row, I would come by the end of the 3rd quality start. Like on my own.
And now, because the pitching is so bad, the bullpen is going to be garbage because not only are the good guys getting taxed, but Buck knows that you can't run the good guys out every single night. So you get Yacobonis and Curtis with 2 S's. And who was the guy last night? Jake Brait. What was his name? Names I don't even know who
I could make up guys' names and you believe
and I would not know.
We're shuttling. All you need to know is the transaction wire with the Mets is how you know shit is fucked because they're just calling guys up and then the next day they send them down and then another guy up and then it happens again and again. It's not a 1-time or a 2-time a week thing because when your starting pitching is off, it fucks everything
up. Everything falls out of place. I mean, the names. I will admit this.
Leone, Dominic Leone, who the Giants. He had like a sneaky good ERA a couple of years ago, and I was like, you know what, this is our guy. Like that's where I am. I've convinced myself the Yacoboner is going to be fine. Curtis was my guy for a minute.
We love that he had the Hollywood Hogan, and that was the only reason we were fucking into it. The name that really, who was it? I'm trying to pull up the box score from the other day. Jeff Brigham.
Oh yeah, Jeff Brigham.
Like these names though, I'm just like, and he's been, he's fine, 3.6 ERA, a whip under 1, God bless him. I started to think to myself like the Jeff Brighams of the world are the problem because when you have like the scrubs that you're shuttling up and down, you're gonna have those, right? Like you're gonna have. We're in trouble because Max got suspended and we're carrying one less guy and we had a doubleheader and one of our starters only went 2 innings, so we're going to need extra bullpen arms. And so you have the scrubs that get shuttled up and down. And then you have your Robertsons, your aces of the bullpen, if you will. The problem is the guys in between that are dog shit right now. And those are the guys, unfortunately, that are pitching like 4 innings a night.
And that's where the bad starting pitching hits you. Because you're not going to, unless you burn out your closers and your setup men in like the 7th inning, you're just trying to keep the game close, which no manager really does these days, right? It's always the 6th and 7th inning guys who are going out every other night. And if you're just trying to keep a game close, you can't just go, let's throw this Leone guy here in a big situation. I've never seen him pitch. I'm going back to the Yacoboner because he got me a big out the other day. And I'll rally around those guys. It's that when they're getting every other day, there's a reason that we got them off the scrap heap, right? Yep, and then B, there's a reason why they're pitching in the 5th, 6th inning.
Dude, the 5th is, I said to the group, the fact that we now have the phrase, who is our 5th inning guy?
Yeah. Oh my God.
You say that about the 8th inning. You say, who's your closer and who's your 8th inning man? And then the rest of your bullpen it's unspoken that they pitch the 6th and 7th. And now we need to say who's our 5th inning guy. Who pitches the 5th? You know who pitches the 5th? The fucking starter!
The 1st through 4th inning guy should be your 5th inning guy.
What's an official pitching appearance of record is 4 2/3?
I think it's 5.
5? Is it 5?
I thought it was 5.
I thought it was like 4 and change. It was like, but yeah, you're not even qualifying for the rule book definition.
Yes.
Not a quality start, not a good start. A start. A start doesn't exist.
Pitcher of record. Just be the pitcher of record for 1 fucking second of the game. Is all I'm looking for my starter.
Pitcher of record. Poor pitching.
And it fucks everything up, man. It's like, what? Okay, so I was thinking, what's one thing that a doctor will say? tell me, this is a good analogy. If you don't sleep, everything gets fucked up. I mean, two dads here of multiple kids. We know how that is. And then you're getting sick, and then you're slipping at work, you're slipping at home.
Rotation.
You're fucking, and that's it is. If you don't have a good sleep, that's what a bad fucking rotation is.
You know what it is, too? They talk about your feet. Like, if you have bad arches, your knees go in, which makes your hips pull out, which makes your back get stressed. The next thing you know, your spine's out of alignment, and you're hunched over. You got a hunchback and herniated discs. Your knees are knocking. Your feet are bleeding because you got corns and bunions and all that shit, and your whole body falls apart.
Pets' heads are falling off.
Your pets' heads are falling off, and it's all because, the foundation is not there. And I know, I'm pretty sure in years gone by, I have made the switch over to the bats of the world, meaning I used to, because the Mets always had pitching, I used to always say, after it didn't work, I was always like, get me bats.
Yes.
We looked at the Cubs. Remember, it was the Mets had the pitching, the Cubs had the bats. These two were going to meet in the NLCS for years and years to come. The Cubs obviously get the ring. To be fair, they never, make it back. It's not like they went on to be a dynasty either. But as I watched DeGrom get injured and Syndergaard fall off and Harvey disappear and Matz become a head case and Wheeler leave, I was like, these pitchers are too volatile. They get too injured. They cost too much money. It's hit or miss. They only take the ball 35 times if it's a great year.
Yep.
Give me bats that are up there 4 times a night, every night, and we'll mash our way to the playoffs.
Rizzo's still playing.
Still out there.
He's had a bad back forever.
And effective.
Javi is still playing. Chris Bryant is still playing. All those fucking guys are still fucking playing at a high level.
A great lineup. And
where's our guys? Noah's dead in fucking the Dodgers. Harvey just retired. R.I.P. Matt Harvey. I feel like we have to pour one out for him a little bit here. DeGrom, I don't even know. Like, if he's pitching for the Rangers, he's going to be out for the Rangers.
Yep.
Very short.
Where's DeGrom? He's on. We should start saying, who does DeGrom play for? The Rangers DL.
Yes, exactly.
That's where he is.
Matz is dead.
Yeah. Matz died before his grandpa did. Who saw that coming?
And then that motherfucker. I know Phil. Phil's not here right now to defend himself. That motherfucker Bartolo could have given us 6 innings.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, Bartolo could have given us 6 innings Sunday.
Meek was so down on Bartolo and told us to watch for David Peterson this year. I don't want to hear it when it comes to he was like his guy to watch was Peterson.
It was Bartolo Day. Couldn't they have just thrown his ass out?
Why not at least for one day a year?
Yes.
How about that? No matter
on
where
the day
they are.
He hit the home run.
Yes. Bartolo Day, one day a year, they could be in first place or last place. Bartolo gets the pitch, or at least hit. God damn, just give me Bartolo in the building, and at least will give me some good juju and some good vibes, because right now it's dead. And I bring up all the pitching and hitting to say that I think I've come back around to, I don't care how good your offense is. When your pitching's giving up 3 in the first, like every day, and they have these catastrophic innings where they give up 7, it's just like, how much can you ask of the offense? How much could
Yeah,
they can't possibly do enough, because you just and then you blame the bullpen. It's like they don't deserve it either, because they're either tired or you're pitching no-namers because your offense, because your starters can't get you to the 5th.
You're pitching your no-namers and you're overtaxing all of them, along with the good guys in the bullpen. And then the offense, they're like, fuck, we have to go out and score 7 tonight.
And you're pressing and you're swinging for the fences, and then these guys. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's snowballing, whatever analogy you want to use. The domino effect. It sucks.
And we had the speaking of Scherzer, Phil sent this to the group. Scherzer is going to the mound with pitching with discomfort in his right scapula. I don't like when the fucking scapula comes around. We already heard that.
Dude.
I'm doing everything I can to get through this without having it linger through the rest of the season. Scherzer said,
I didn't know
spot.
this. He's done. He's
done.
He's
good. Consul to Scherzer? Are we consuling the Scherzer?
I can't. So here's the thing with Max. He has too much history and too much of a pedigree for me to bail on him this early. Because for all we know, he could put together a bunch of great starts, and then it's like egg on my face for doubting one of the best fucking pit bull junkyard dogs ever. What the flip side of that is, you can't fight your way through pitching in your 40. You can't fireball your way out of this. His marching around the mound and his like barking in the dugout is not what you need when you're 38 and you're losing it. You know, it's like Chet the Rocket Stedman.
Yes.
Remember how did he get out of that inning? He floated it. Because he couldn't just fucking gas him anymore. The Rocket didn't have that anymore. That scapula was shredded. And I think trying to be the crazy two-eyed Max Scherzer is like, I need the crafty vet. I need the guy who's painting the corners, pitching to contact, learn a new pitch, all that kind of shit. Because that's how you extend your career.
You know what you need? Like the dickhead pitcher from Major League, rub a little jalapeno on my nose. We need a little sweat and rosin. We need some fucking substances.
Give this man sweat and rosin. Let's go.
Look, we all, like Buck, Max, the team, the fans, we know who's umpiring the games. If Phil Cuzzy ain't on the list, throw some fucking sticky
stuff.
Walk
out there with fucking jelly on your hands. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Go out. If there's no Cuzzy, let's get scuzzy.
There we go. Put it up in the fucking clubhouse.
That is what. So.
And to be fair to Scherzer, I have to say this. We kind of glossed on it. The 2 starts he had before that Tigers game, he was great. I mean, that Tiger game was a fucking, like a whirlwind. Shitty day, I'm gonna give him the pass on that. And if he does this against the Reds, though, even with the Great American Ballpark being kind of a launching pad on, but still is.
I say I've said June 15th for the team. I'll also give Max. You need how many starts does he think? How many starts does he have right now?
I'd say 5.
I think you need to give a guy 10.
And, like, it has to be consistent results, right?
Yeah.
So Sale, I have Chris Sale in fantasy baseball, and I don't watch the Red Sox, obviously. And I was just saying, I was like, his numbers were awful. And I go to Red Sox fans, I'm like, should I just become bait with this guy in fantasy or keep him? They're like, no, he has to, like, find his command. He's coming back from injury. Yeah. He's older, too.
To be fair, we don't know Max all that well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we knew, and I guess we didn't know Ty Walker all that well, but we knew second half Walker's coming. He stinks. You knew what was going to come with DeGrom. Certain guys, you can kind of tell what's about to happen.
That's what the problem with Escobar, too. We didn't really know with Escobar until last year. Like, this guy's streaky and yada, yada, yada.
Max is the key to everything. Because if he can be solid, I'm still banking on Verlander. I know he's even older, but he is the pitcher of a generation, and he's fucking awesome. And he is just that guy. Why are you smirking?
No, it's just...
Why are you smirking?
No, it's so fucking funny, dude. I mean... How many meetings? I mean, you probably go on more meetings. You're like much bigger fish than I am at Barstool. I had like one of my 3 meetings of the year, and I was completely disconnected. I didn't realize it went late, and then I go check the box score. It was 2-0, and I wrote to the group. I go, wait. Did Verlander give up back-to-back home runs in the first inning? I'm so happy I wasn't on Twitter for that. I'm so happy I was in the office.
Thank God I was recording too. I didn't. When I saw your text was my like me finding out, and I was like, no fucking way. So you know what's interesting, and we're not going to spend too much time going more on this episode because there's not too much more to say, but this is a broader conversation that I thought was funny. I always think about sports in terms of the storyline.
Yep.
And I think of it as scripts and seasons and foreshadowing and Chekhov's gun and all these things that you talk about in television and movies, I think about in the terms of sports. And to me, Verlander giving up those 2 bombs is the bad juju, the storyline, the foreshadowing that he's fucked. Feidelberg, I said that on KFC Radio, and he goes, oh, that's so funny. In Boston, we do the same thing, except we go, that'll be the first chapter of the championship DVD, where you say, remember that Verlander gave up 2 bombs in the first inning and we were all nervous about him? And then he won the Cy Young and the World Series. How stupid were we? And that was the turning point, was when he, and for us, to me, it's going to be, as soon as our hero came, he got clobbered and we never recovered, and it all was downhill from here. And I know just a week ago I was saying, it's too early, you guys are crazy, but that was me 100. No, because they did have a little bit of 85% thinking Max and Verlander were good. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Max is just hitting a speed bump. Verlander's going to be fine. If those 2 are bad, cancel the season. It's over. Because, you're talking about a not a good pitching rotation. You're not talking about a championship rotation. You're not talking about a playoff rotation. You're not talking about a good rotation. You're not even talking about a rotation that might put it together. It's a bad one if those two are out.
Yeah, and that is this whole thing about the payroll, 387, whatever the number is. I don't even know if that's the exact number. It starts with the $100 million plus then the luxury tax that we're spending, 90 cents on the dollar in terms of a penalty because we had to get the two guys, 40 years old-ish pitchers at the top of rotation because we can't just go out and find an ace. Which, by the way, like we mentioned last episode, Carlos Rodon, he may not be back ever. He might be just, I said, Spanish Carlo Pavano at this point. That's who they got in the Bronx 2.0. And like we
Carlos
said,
Rodano, we'll call him now.
Yeah, exactly. We let Bassett go. I saw Ty Walker has taken a downturn.
Stink,
there was really no way to go about it.
But
we also knew this was coming though. Like if you go back to we said, listen, if these two suck, it's fucking over. We said that during the Padres series ago. If Jake and Max are going to pick like this, I don't give a fuck if we losing the wild card or in the World Series. We ain't winning shit. We're going to lose.
Yeah. I feel like I said that last year about DeGrom. I said, DeGrom's out. This team relies too much on their pitching. We're done. And then it turned out to be okay because we turned out to be a great offensive team. No matter what anybody tells you last year, they were third in runs and they were clutch as fuck and they were a great offensive team. This time around, I think you can confidently say, and I don't unfortunately think there's any way that they put egg on my face on this one. If those guys are bad,
C word.
I mean, you can't there's just no way. Their offense is not that good, not good enough to overcome that. You don't have a 1 or a 2, and your 3, 4, and 5 are all like 5s.
And
Senga, there's some hope for him that I think he might still be a middle-of-the-road guy. But the rest of them are, Peterson, Lucchesi, McGill, and anybody else you're calling up for these spot starts. They're bad.
People are like, Cookie's coming back, guys. I'm like, whoa. There was not one guy I could have shipped to the aisle faster than Cookie fucking Carrasco.
Get rid of him. So I still will give that June 15th. Because and you got to give Verlander a little bit more leeway because you got to get going. But if by then, and a few more starts, you can't. I always say are we saying that the Phillies season is done because they're a game under 500?
No.
Are the Astros, they just lost, they got swept or whatever? Are they done? But they don't. All those guys are just underperforming here and there. We have the worst pitching in baseball.
I don't know. So, okay. All right. First of all, everyone has to chill. Everyone has to chill out. We're saying the C word. The C word is chill. We're not saying the console word. We're saying C for chill for Coors Light. It is a beer that's made to chill, cold water, cold filtered, literally made to chill. We're going out. And this is the other thing. It's kind of piling on where I think there's Islanders fans. There's Rangers fans. There's Knicks fans. There's Yankees fans.
It's getting ugly.
The New York is not a very ugly. It's not a very pretty sports town right now, right?
Yep.
But you're going out at night. You're having your Coors Lights with your friend. You're feeling good. You're taking a loss. It's all right. Coors Light's going to help you chill out. So just get your Coors Lights, and I'm telling you guys, it's going to be okay. This is Positive Clem coming. Positive K was here for a brief minute, and it was glorious when he was around. But I feel where you are. I feel where the fans are. Trust me, I am not enjoying this any more than you guys are. My new thing, I said I'm done watching on TV until the starters figure it out. I go outside, I get my hammock on, and I listen to Howie.
That's what I'm doing from now on. I got a hammock now, too. It was left on the property.
Nice.
With the Hammock Boys.
The Hammock Boys.
I like
Get
that.
a Coors Light there with some hammocks. Mountains and hammocks. What's better than that, right?
I might have to get a hammock sent to Casa de Clem, and we'll sit next to each other on hammocks and fucking listen to Howie, the smooth, silky. We'll sip some Bigelow tea along with our Coors Lights, and we'll fucking chill in the hammock. And that's about the level of attention and passion and dedication you need to give this team right now. That's starting pitching. Yeah.
Yes.
Now the rest,
pair your plans with an ice cold Coors Light, the beer that's keeping New York chill. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door or hammock with Drizly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/believe. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Now the rest has not been great either. I mean, Pete was a bulldozer in the beginning, and that was awesome. That kind of cooled off a little bit.
Vogie, that base running by Vogie was tough.
Oh my God, that was not great. Although he had some clutch hits,
he got the bomb, so you just want to get power. He's on base.
You just want power,
just need power too.
It's just the Mets have always been very reactive in that, like, in 06, they needed what did they need? They needed like another bat, and they went and got one, but they didn't address the bullpen. And then when they addressed the bullpen, they needed a new starter. And then they got Glavine, and they didn't address the offense. And then they're always like kind of after the fact. And
that's the Wilpons Mets. Cohen's gonna fix this.
Well,
I'm believing in Stevie.
And that's why, like, and then I remember in between 15 and now, there were years, or maybe right before 15, there were years where it was feast or famine.
Yep.
It was like we hit bombs, or we scored nothing. But we had a lot of home runs. We had like a lot of fucking home runs. And now we hit no home runs. And it's like we're always trying to catch up from the last thing. It's like you just need 4 guys who can hit 30 home runs.
Yep.
And that's just how you're and you hope one of them can hit 50. But you need like 4 or 5 guys. And honestly, you need like 4 guys who can hit 30 or more, and you need like 7 that can hit 20. That's just like how, like, that's what you need. You just need that constant threat. Or you have to just be incredibly clutch, and that's what we were for 2022, to the point that it happened so often that I was like, this is not luck. This is clutch. This is what these guys do. And now this year, it's just not really there. And you also have no threat of a bomb at any moment, I mean, you do. I'm not saying they're like no pop, but they're not like a slugging lineup,
Do you think we're going to look back on 2022 the way kids look back on 2006?
Yes.
I mean, like, it was so fucking perfect.
Yes.
And in 2006,
yes.
I enjoyed it the whole fucking time.
Every time.
And we had more wins in 2022.
It was just the only problem. Had nothing to do with the Mets. It was just the second place
the
team.
other team, yeah. Yep.
All 2006, we had the division wrapped up in August. It was a fucking wrap. This time around, we couldn't enjoy every runners in scoring position situation. We got a base knock. Every time we needed a big spot start because somebody was injured, we got it. Every single save situation, Diaz closed the door. We couldn't enjoy any of it because the Braves they won 3 out of every 4 games.
Yeah.
And that's the only problem. And that's for sure. Now, what I get nervous about is this a cicada situation? Are we going to go back? Are we going to disappear? What the Mets, what they do is they get good, and then 7 years go by. They were good in 99, then 99, 2000, they disappear until 2006, 2007. After that campaign, they disappear until 15. Then this one was, 8 years longer.
Yeah,
and then 7 years. And then are we going to disappear?
That cicada thing was actually even more on point because I said that like in 16.
Right.
And now
we had
it came
another
back
campaign.
7 years again.
That's crazy that the cicada thing started 7 years ago, and then we did it again.
When I saw Harvey retired, I was like, man, that made me feel fucking old.
Now, here's the difference. Like, I want to fucking scream and yell about this team, but when you know that ownership is spending and trying, and their philosophy just kind of backfired on them, I can't. It's like the players are either old or, I guess, you need Pete and Lindor to perform a little more. The lineup can definitely perform better. But for the most part, like, they're out there. They're a good team on paper. They are trying. They're not. It's like in the Wilpons years, it was like, fuck this team and these no-name fucking losers. I hate it all. This to me is like, I have the utmost faith in the owner. I love the manager. I think the GM is good enough, and the players just aren't playing well, and that gets me mad. That gets me upset, but it doesn't get me mad. I'm not like, fuck. Yeah. Like, I'm not, I'm sure people were like Francesa, like, we got to hear them. We got to believe guys tomorrow on this episode. They're going to go nuts. And it's like, this shit sucks. Don't get me wrong. It's not even worth watching. They're garbage. But it's not a hate because it's like, it just didn't, if we went all in and like they called our bluff basically. Like, Max and Verlander just didn't work out so far. And, so we ride these next 2 years so we'd have Verlander for...
Max will probably opt in if he keeps pitching like this.
No, Max is for sure going to opt in. And then Verlander is signed through next year.
Yeah. So
we got, one more year this year and then next year. And if they both are bad or even if they're just not great, like, okay. It's not like we have like 10 years locked in. We just have to pivot. The problem is I don't know where the pitching is going to come from.
Well, then we're saying
prospects. We got no nothing.
I want Ohtani the pitcher. I don't give a fuck if he wants to hit or not.
Okay, so this was my hypothetical. We can kind of probably we'll preview next series or whatever, but there's not much more to discuss about how dog shit they are. But, I mean, this team needs more pop, and they certainly need another starter.
Yep.
If you could go get that in Ohtani, what would you give up for him? Or should I say, what would you not give up?
Yeah.
Because to me, I think I would give up everybody.
Everything.
Yeah.
You're including Alvarez. I mean, not Beatty. You can't. Like, I feel like Beatty's. Yeah.
I would pack Beatty's bags.
Trade them all. Hook gift.
Trade them all. That's a great. The way he says that, kill them all. I know and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that out of it's not a knock on those guys. It's more two things. One, I think we are more than a Beatty away from a World Series. You know what I mean? And I think getting like a transcendent player is good for this franchise and this fan base. And like I think right now, unfortunately, we're not an Ohtani away from winning. And I don't think Alvarez, Beatty, and those guys are – I don't think we're a championship team one way or the other.
One way or the other.
But what I would rather have is like a fucking rock star who changes the game and might help change the culture and might change the LOL Mets. Like, as good as Alvarez and Beatty and maybe Vientos might be, I still think the impact that Ohtani can have on and off the field is better for what the Mets need to do. The Mets are still clawing their way out of LOL Mets. They're still fighting, for supremacy in the city. They need to learn to tack on longer, more consecutive winning seasons. They need to become a free agent spot that people want to go. All that shit, I think, bring the star of Ohtani in, I think might be more valuable than all of the young guys we have, to be honest.
It would honestly, because then you're going from Mark Canha to Shohei Ohtani, and that does feel like that is like a very good metaphor for what we are to what we could
need to be.
Yeah.
And I don't know, by the grace of God, if Max turns it around and Verlander pitches good and you throw Ohtani in the mix, all of a sudden you go from the worst pitching to maybe these guys put together a run in September and they win every fucking start they go out there for. To me, it's just I think 2022 is going to be the lightning in a bottle. We missed our chance. Now we need to do some more building and working. And would I rather do that work with a couple young up-and-comers or Shohei Ohtani? To me, it's bring in the fucking big guns.
Throw the big.
But I also understand, I'm not saying you'd be crazy to not include Beatty and all that shit. Me personally, I think I'd rather have the all-time, literally game changer, history changing player in his prime versus Beatty's good and so's Alvarez and Vientos okay. Sure, that's cool. Give me the big guns. Give me the rock star.
You're kind of going back to the Tale of Two Cities with Feidelberg, which, I mean, that's as Tale of Two Cities as it gets. We're there thinking, World Series videos, and we're thinking this is where it all falls apart. It kind of is I want to do Yankees 2.0. The guy who can pitch and hit like Babe Ruth kind of, turn the Yankees into this fucking juggernaut, which they became.
I always say with my teams, I just want to watch. What was so nice about 2022 is we competed every night on top of winning most of them, and it was a great product. Even when the offense faltered a little bit, it was still every game was competitive and fun and all that. The fun factor of Ohtani would be right now they're just unwatchable.
Yeah.
Even some of the games they win, it's just that game stunk. Ohtani every 4 times a night plus a once a week rotation would be must see fucking TV. And then I don't know, you get one or two guys being go play with Ohtani, and I don't know. It just feels like if Max and Jake, Max and Verlander are going to be a 1.5 more year type thing, we're going to need an ace of some sort. Let it be Ohtani, man. We're going to need somebody to anchor the pitching as the future goes on. And I just don't know if those prospects are now turned into young players are going to be. I mean, it's a lot.
I love
it's
Beatty,
a
though,
man.
Man.
I do love Beatty. I mean,
Beatty.
he's the type of player you want. But I don't know. What would Beatty need to do for you to be yep, we made the right choice to not get Ohtani?
Yeah, I just feel like the Angels are going to bend us over if they even trade him, right?
Right.
You don't want him to go to the Dodgers,
which
the Dodgers will just ship all these guys out. They don't
because they got
Jordan Alvarez we got a
right.
fucking reliever for him, and they're just watching him he's like an MVP.
But what do you think? Okay, Alvarez has not lit the world on fire by any means.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if we have the package anymore. I think last year we had a better chance at trading for a guy like that when it was the unknown. But if you trade Alvarez, Beatty, Vientos, Mauricio, like how many of those guys need to hit, and at what level do they need to hit? Meaning, like, not just hit the ball, just like they hit as a prospect for you to be like okay on giving up 35, 40, maybe 50 home runs one day and like a 2.5 ERA.
Yeah, but
it's insanity.
The thing is, then it's like I'm always thinking Ohtani's at least going to give us a meeting, and whether or not he goes to the Dodgers and he falls in love there, it's like I don't think we could lose Ohtani by letting him hit the market. And if this season is cooked, we're fucked anyway, right?
Yeah.
If Scherzer and Verlander are going to pitch like this, I don't want to trade for Ohtani. That pushes me the other way.
This is all 100% predicated upon an extension. I'm not talking about a rental for him at all, because that doesn't make sense with how bad they played this year. This to me is like, if the only way to get Ohtani, let's say we know how somehow we can't get him in free agency, I think you need a great pitcher and a great hitter. You're going to get that in this guy. And those other guys, are they going to be great? Like, are any of them going to be great? Maybe Beatty will. I don't know.
And even with Soto, too, who's the other guy here. It's like, what the fuck is going on with Juan Soto right now?
Right.
So,
I mean,
that does kind of push me towards your side now, yeah.
So, to me, it's like always just go get the best you can possibly get, but only if you knew you were going to, somehow continue to keep him. But
so I have to hit you with this too, and we could kind of like, I'm trying to find a fault here because people are asking me, Clem, are you counseling? Well, how long is it going to take? If we're 29th in the league in starters ERA by June 15th, like it's like, what's the point? Or well, whatever. But I'm trying to figure out what's going wrong, and I got this tip. I think it was a German Mets fan.
This should be good. Are we going to look to the stars or something?
No, I mean, Aunt Mary. If Aunt Mary wants to chime in, I'll be more than happy. Your brother even has some AI stuff he's thinking about for some bets.
Sure.
He's fucking cranking. So this is the one thing that I'm trying to look for a smoking gun. Now, I remember, I think it was 21 when Cohen's first year, they brought the fucking pitching machine. You're like looking at me like I'm fucking Randy Quaid in Independence Day. You're like, what kind of crackpot shit is going to throw here? 100%. Remember when they had the pitching machine and it threw different color balls and they didn't hit for like a fucking month?
Yeah, somebody just like wax them out.
Yeah, like destroy that fucking machine. So this goes back to this winter, 2022 of November 2022. Mets hire Reds Eric Yeagers as director of pitching development. Okay, so I don't know what happened to our old director of pitching development, but Eric Yeagers, and he is this is according to the New York Post, had a strong background in biomechanics and movement science, and he was the assistant pitching coach of the Reds, which I don't know if the Reds, I mean, I know like they Castillo, they have some decent guys, and he's like it is the pitching development. So you think it's a lot of minor league stuff.
Right.
But apparently he's big into this thing called driveline baseball, and it uses research and advanced data to help players. And apparently they use this with the Phillies. And the Phillies did this in 2018, and apparently like some of their pitchers developed with this, but they also led the minors in walks in AAA and AA. And I'm trying to figure out, why was our pitching our strength last year?
Yes.
Where we would call up McGill. Cyborg McGill was a thing. David Peterson was fucking awesome, right?
Yeah.
And it's like Jeremy Hefner is still our pitching coach. I can't imagine he made a lot of like core changes. I don't know if this driveline baseball, I think it's the guy said Michael Silva was the one who said this. I think even like before the season or maybe early season, like just keep an eye on this in case like the pitching doesn't bounce back the way it did last year. And I don't know if it's just guys are getting shittier, they're getting older, obviously with the two fucking olds that we have on the team, or it's this change in, driveline baseball. You're talking analytics and they're trying to focus on velocity and whatever. But there's something fucking different about this pitching staff. There's no way around it, right? Every single guy was better last year than you expected for the most part, and now every guy is worse than you expected.
We had that one run where we felt like other teams for a moment, where it was like everybody feels like other teams just plug in relievers and plug in batters and plug in people and they just perform. And for 1 minute we were that. Because I remember thinking the way I feel about this pitching staff is how I felt last year. I remember being like, DeGrom's out. Like, we're done. Outside of Max, and then especially when Max was out, I was like, McGill and Peterson and like these guys are gonna suck.
Trevor Williams just comes in,
and they just all worked out. And then now we're back to the clock struck midnight and the carriage is back to a pumpkin. Maybe it's the curse of the Vulture lawsuit. Isn't he suing?
Ooh, yep.
I think that started after the fact. Like that was this offseason.
I like
maybe?
the former accountant is the one giving the fucking theories, and I'm the fucking the idiot is the one giving the numbers here. I don't like a guy as beloved as the Vulture. A great nickname, old dude. You don't want to fuck with old dudes.
I know it's the Wilpon era,
Yeah.
but like he's suing a guy like that who's beloved, suing the team, suing whatever. Not good for
the epitome of bad juju right there, right? So we're getting the olds against us with the Vulture, the Fats with Bartolo. Those are two juju people. And we couldn't even win Bartolo's fucking home run game. It was honored at Citi Field, and they fucking lost it. It's disgusting. So, but for me personally, I'm riding with. We're all gonna ride with this team. We don't have a fucking choice. We're hostages on this shit. I'll be on my hammock. I'll be listening to Howie. You and me both. But if the starting pitching continues to be like this, I'm going to say we're fucked. But if the starting pitching turns it around, I'm telling you, the team is just going to get better. It's fucking, it's literally that simple.
No, that is true. But like to me, it's like if the pitching doesn't get better, everyone in the world should console. There's no, I mean, it's black and white. It's just like the pitching is the worst in the league.
Yeah.
You will not win 80 games at this rate if that pitching keeps up.
Are you almost like happier that we know the cause?
Yeah.
It's like instead of like you go for tests, we're like, oh, there's a lump. We know what the fuck the problem is.
Rather than just like, call in Dr. House. We have no fucking idea.
It's like the pitching was good. Starters were good for a month, and then the hitting went to shit. And that's kind of what it used to be. It used to be whack-a-mole. Yeah. We said that all the time, right?
You fix one and the other pops up. Now it's like we at least know. But the problem is, what are you going to do? You can't trade for 5 starters. You can't heal broken guys. You can't reverse time. It just is what it is.
You know what you got to do?
Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.